The heavy oak door slammed with finality, cutting off his father's roar of "You're dead to us." Isaac stood frozen on the front porch, duffel bag in hand, the summer heat of suburban Chicago pressing down as tears burned his eyes. In that instant, he realized the family he had loved and hidden his truth from for years had chosen hate over him. His legs felt like lead as he walked down the familiar driveway, the one where he had learned to ride a bike under his father's proud gaze years ago. Now that same man had looked at him with disgust, Bible in hand, quoting verses that cut deeper than any knife. Isaac's phone buzzed in his pocket. It was Lincoln. "I'm here at the end of the block. Come to me." The message was simple, but it was the only anchor in the storm. Lincoln's old blue sedan was idling under a streetlight. As Isaac slid into the passenger seat, Lincoln reached over without a word, pulling him into a tight hug. The scent of Lincoln's cologne, a mix of sandalwood and safety, grounded him. "It's going to be okay. Isaac, you have me. We face this together." Isaac nodded against his shoulder, but the words felt hollow against the ache in his chest. How could it be okay when his mother had stood silent, tears streaming, not saying a word to defend him? His little sister, Emily, only 16, had looked confused and scared, whispering why. Isaac, before their father ordered her to her room. The drive to Lincoln's apartment in the city took 40 minutes, but it felt like an eternity. Lincoln drove in silence at first, giving Isaac space to process. "Tell me what happened." "Exactly," Lincoln finally said, his voice steady but laced with anger. Isaac recounted the family dinner. He had planned it for months, rehearsing how to tell them he was gay and in a serious relationship with Lincoln, the man he loved for 2 years in secret. The coming out had gone worse than his nightmares. His father, owner of a successful construction firm, had exploded, calling him an abomination, demanding he leave immediately. No discussion, no questions about who Lincoln was or how long it had been going on. Just rejection, pure and simple. At the apartment, a modest one-bedroom with views of the Chicago skyline, Lincoln helped unpack the few things Isaac had managed to grab. "You can stay as long as you need. Forever, if you want." Isaac sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his hands. "I never wanted it to end like this. I thought maybe Mom would understand. She's always been the one to hug me when Dad was hard on us." Lincoln sat beside him, taking his hand. "Families like yours are trapped in their own fears. But you did the brave thing. You were true to yourself." The words brought fresh tears. Isaac wondered if bravery was worth losing everything. The internal storm raged. Part of him hated them for their prejudice. Another part longed to go back, to apologize for being who he was if it meant having a family again. That night, as they lay in bed, Lincoln holding him close in the dark, Isaac's mind raced. He remembered working summers at his father's company, seeing how the crew was all straight, white men mostly, how his father made comments about those people when a gay client came in. There were whispers about payroll, undocumented workers paid under the table to cut costs. Isaac had evidence on an old laptop, emails, photos from sites. He had ignored it before. Loyal to family. No. The thought flickered. What if they felt the pain they inflicted? Lincoln sensed his tension. "What are you thinking?" Isaac shook his head. "Nothing. Just trying to sleep." But the seed was planted. The betrayal from his family burned, and for the first time, Isaac considered that silence was not the only option. The next morning, the reality hit harder. Isaac's phone was flooded with messages from his mother, pleading, "Come home. We can talk." But when he called, his father answered, "If you bring that man here, don't bother." Click. Lincoln made breakfast, eggs and toast. Simple but caring. "We can get your stuff from storage later." Start fresh. Isaac nodded, but inside, the conflict tore him. Was he abandoning his family, or were they abandoning him? Lincoln shared his own story briefly. His parents in Ohio had cut him off at 19 when he came out. It hurt like hell, but it made me stronger. You'll build a new life, Isaac, with me. Their eyes met, and in that moment, the bond felt unbreakable. Lincoln leaned in, their foreheads touching, a quiet promise in the touch. Yet Isaac knew the road ahead was filled with hard choices. The social pressure in their old community would label him the deviant son. Friends from church would turn away. And the moral dilemma loomed: forgive and move on, or make them understand the cost of their hate. By afternoon, they walked in a nearby park. The sun bright overhead. Lincoln talked about his job as a graphic designer, how he could help Isaac find work in the city. Isaac, a marketing grad, had prospects, but the emotional weight slowed him. I feel so lost, he confessed, like I'm not the son they raised anymore. Lincoln stopped, turning to face him. You are more than their definition. You are mine, and that's enough for now. The words warmed Isaac, but doubt lingered. That evening, alone while Lincoln worked, Isaac opened his laptop and looked at the old files from the company. Evidence of tax shortcuts, biased hiring notes. His finger hovered over the keyboard. Not yet, but the idea grew. The family had drawn the line. Maybe it was time to show them what lines really cost. The first day of his new life ended with exhaustion and a spark of resolve that scared him as much as it empowered him. The following week brought a fragile routine that Isaac clung to like a lifeline. He landed a part-time job at a downtown cafe, pouring lattes and smiling at strangers while his mind replayed the slammed door on repeat. Lincoln encouraged him every morning, packing a lunch and kissing his forehead before heading to the design firm. You're doing great, he would say. And in those moments, Isaac felt seen in a way his family never had. But nights were harder. He would lie awake, staring at the ceiling fan, wondering if his mother was crying herself to sleep or if his sister Emily had been told he was a sinner who deserved exile. One evening, Lincoln came home early, carrying takeout Thai food and a folder of printed papers. I did some light digging at work. Nothing illegal, just public records and old news clips. Your dad's company has had 3 discrimination complaints in the last 5 years. All settled quietly. Employees mentioning homophobic remarks in the office. Isaac took the folder, his hands trembling. This could be the start. If we send an anonymous tip to the labor board, it might trigger an investigation. Lincoln sat across from him. I'm serious. It might. But think about the price. Isaac, your mom loses her lifestyle. Your sister might lose college support. Are you ready for that? Isaac closed the folder, the guilt twisting in his gut. I don't know. They rejected me first, but hurting them back feels wrong, too. They talked late into the night, Lincoln's arm around him, reminding him that love did not mean silence in the face of harm. The romantic tenderness of that conversation, the way Lincoln listened without pushing, made Isaac feel less alone. Yet the plan began to take shape in small steps. A quiet email sent from a burner account to a reporter at the Chicago Tribune hinting at workplace bias. The response came faster than expected. 2 days later, a news article appeared online, vague but damaging, quoting anonymous sources about Harlan's construction and its culture. Isaac's phone lit up with a call from his sister Sophia, now 25 and married with a toddler. Isaac, what is this? Dad is furious. Mom won't stop crying. Did you do this? Her voice cracked, a mix of anger and fear. Isaac froze, the moral weight crushing him. I don't know what you're talking about. But the lie tasted bitter. Sophia sighed. You always were the sensitive one. Come home, apologize, and this can end. Dad says he'll forgive if you renounce it. The offer felt like a trap, a conditional love that demanded he erase himself. Isaac hung up, heart pounding, and turned to Lincoln, who had overheard. They still think they can control me. Lincoln pulled him close on the balcony, the city lights twinkling below, their foreheads touching in the warm evening air. You decide your worth, not them. But Isaac lay awake later, the price already showing, Sophia's hurt voice echoing, his own guilt growing like a shadow. The tip led to a formal inquiry notice arriving at the company office. Victor called an emergency family meeting. Unaware, Isaac listened in through a friend who still worked there. The business was on shaky ground. Clients pulling back, whispers spreading in their tight-knit church community. Isaac felt a dark satisfaction mixed with nausea. He had set something in motion that could not be undone. Lincoln noticed the change, holding him tighter at night, whispering promises of a future free from their shadow. Yet Isaac wondered if the plan was healing him or changing him into someone colder. The weeks passed in tense anticipation, the romantic moments on the balcony becoming anchors, full of whispered I love yous and shared dreams of a life without the past chains. The investigation gained traction. Inspectors showing up at Harlan's construction sites unannounced. Isaac watched from his cafe shift, phone notifications pinging with local news updates. His father's face appeared in a grainy photo, denying allegations with the same righteous tone he had used at the dinner table. The price was mounting, and Isaac felt every dollar lost as if it were his own blood. Lincoln tried to balance him, taking him to a quiet dinner at their favorite Italian place, talking about normal things like weekend hikes or maybe adopting a dog. But Isaac's mind kept drifting back to the family group chat he had been removed from. The silence now a weapon he had helped forge. Sophia called again, this time crying. Mom in a panic attack at church. Dad is drinking more. Whatever you're doing, stop. You're tearing us apart. The betrayal cut deep when Sophia admitted she had told her father about Isaac's location weeks earlier, hoping reconciliation. I thought I was helping. Isaac hung up, rage and sorrow colliding. She had chosen sides. The sister who once defended him in schoolyard fights, now feeding the beast that rejected him. Lincoln listened, then said quietly, this is the cost you knew might come. But are you sure it's worth it? The question hung between them as they stood on the balcony, hands clasped, the sunset painting the city gold. Isaac leaned into the embrace, feeling the warmth of Lincoln's body, the steady heartbeat that said, I am here no matter what. The moment was pure, a reminder that love could be chosen, not forced. The plan escalated when Isaac anonymously sent the old payroll files to the IRS tip line. The dominoes fell faster. Audits were announced, contracts canceled. Victor posted on social media about liberal witch hunts. But the damage was real. Emily texted Isaac privately, I miss you, but Dad says you're the devil. The words broke something in him. The little sister he had protected, now viewing him as poison. Guilt clawed at his chest during shifts, during quiet nights when Lincoln worked late. Was this justice or revenge? Lincoln sensed the spiral and pulled him into long talks, sharing his own story of cutting off his parents and the years of therapy it took to forgive himself for the distance. You don't have to destroy them to be free, he said one night, their fingers intertwined on the couch. But Isaac knew stopping now would leave the wound open, the prejudice unchallenged. A major client pulled out publicly, citing values. Ironically, the same values that had kicked Isaac out. The family business teetered. Layoffs began. Isaac drove past the office one evening, seeing the for sale sign on equipment. The sight brought tears, the price his family paid staring back at him. Lincoln met him at home. No judgment, just open arms and a simple dinner. Their conversation turned to the future, plans for Isaac to finish his degree online, maybe start a small marketing firm together. The tenderness of that evening, Laughter mixed with tears solidified their bond. Yet the internal conflict raged on. Isaac whispering to himself in the mirror, "Am I becoming what they called me? Heartless." Public pressure mounted as the Tribune ran a follow-up piece, naming the company in connection with workplace discrimination. Church friends distanced themselves, the Harlan's once pillar status crumbling. Victor suffered a minor heart scare, blamed on stress, and Elena called Isaac from an unknown number. Voice breaking. "Please, son, whatever you think we did, we love you. Come home." The plea almost broke him. Isaac paced the apartment, Lincoln watching silently. "If I go back now, they win. They get me on their terms. But if I keep going, what am I left with?" Lincoln stood, wrapping arms around him from behind. "You're left with truth and us. The choice is yours. But I see how this is eating you alive." The betrayal deepened when Sophia leaked Isaac's new phone number to their father. Victor left a voicemail. Voice slurred. "You did this. They'll make sure you regret it." The threat was empty, but the pain real. Isaac blocked the number, but the damage lingered. He spent the day at the cafe in a fog, dropping orders, apologizing to customers. Lincoln picked him up after shift, driving to the lakefront for fresh air. They sat on a bench, watching waves, Isaac pouring out the guilt. "I wanted them to feel what I felt. But now Mom is suffering. Emily is scared. Is this who I am?" Lincoln listened, then shared. "When my parents rejected me, I fantasized about exposing their own secrets too. But I chose to build forward instead. Maybe that's the real power." Their hands found each other, a quiet strength passing between them in the fading light. The IRS audit results leaked online, confirming underreporting. Fines loomed, the family home at risk. Isaac watched a video of Victor at a press conference, looking aged 10 years, pleading for understanding. The sight brought no joy, only a hollow ache. Lincoln suggested therapy for both, and the sessions peeled back layers. Isaac confronting how the plan had become a prison of his own making. Decisions had consequences. He learned, the trade-off being his peace for their pain. One evening after a session, back on the balcony, Lincoln kissed his temple softly. "No matter what, we choose each other every day." The moment filled with hope, but Isaac's resolve wavered. The plan was working too well, the family paying dearly, and he wondered if stopping now would save what little remained or prove him weak. The climax built as a class action lawsuit from former employees surfaced, citing the bias Isaac had hinted at. Harlan's construction filed for protection. Layoffs hit home. Elena reached out again, this time through a lawyer, asking for a meeting. Isaac agreed, against Lincoln's cautious advice. The coffee shop meet was tense, his mother looking frail, Sophia glaring. "Why, Isaac, what did we do to deserve this?" He sat silent, then spoke the truth. "You kicked me out for loving who I love. You chose hate. Now you feel the cost." Elena cried, admitting the church had pressured them. The fear of community judgment stronger than love. Sophia stormed out, calling him vindictive. The confrontation left Isaac raw, the moral grayness clearer than ever. He had won the battle, but lost the war for their hearts. Lincoln waited at home, listening without "I told you so." They spent the night talking, Isaac admitting the plan had spiraled beyond control. "I thought exposure would force change, but it just broke more." Lincoln held him, their embrace on the couch a lifeline. "We can pause it. Tell the reporter to back off." But the damage was done. Contracts lost forever. Isaac decided to halt further leaks, but the ongoing probes continued. The price was paid. Family fractured, his own soul scarred. Romantic evenings became therapy. Lincoln reminding him of self-worth. Their love the one constant. Yet doubt remained. The awakening slow and painful. Family finances collapsed. The house listed for sale. Victor sent a letter, not begging but accusing, listing every sacrifice he had made for Isaac. The words stung, forcing Isaac to reread childhood memories, the good ones clashing with the rejection. Lincoln suggested a clean break, but Isaac chose one final call with Emily. She answered, voice small, I don't understand why you hate us. Isaac explained as best he could. The prejudice, the hidden self. She hung up crying. The betrayal cycle continued, each decision costing another piece of connection. Lincoln and Isaac argued for the first time. Lincoln saying the revenge had cost too much. Isaac defending the need for accountability. The fight ended in tears and apologies. Their bond tested but stronger. A tender reconciliation under the city lights. The business closed its doors. Victor declared bankruptcy. Elena moved in with Sophia. The family scattered. Isaac received the news via email from a former employee. The victory feeling like ashes. He drove to the old neighborhood, parked across the street from the empty house. Memories flooding. Lincoln joined him. Silent support. This is what I wanted. Isaac whispered, but I hate how it feels. The internal conflict peaked. The awakening that revenge had changed him, isolated him further from any hope of mending. They returned home, spending hours talking through the trade-offs. Lincoln sharing how his own past revenge thoughts had nearly destroyed his spirit. Their love deepened in the honesty. Hands clasped, eyes locked in quiet understanding on the balcony. Months later, Isaac sat with Lincoln at their kitchen table, the city humming below. The plan had run its course. The family paying in-law status. Money. Unity. Victor worked odd jobs. Elena sought counseling. Sophia barely spoke his name. Isaac had stopped all involvement, focusing on his new marketing startup with Lincoln. Their life built on truth. But the scars remained. In a rare moment of outreach, Emily sent a photo of the family dog. No words. Isaac replied with a simple, I miss you too. The response was silence, the price still extracting. He turned to Lincoln, who smiled softly. You chose to stop. That's growth. Their embrace on the balcony that evening felt like redemption, full of promise and the hard-won piece of decisions made. Was Isaac's secret plan to make his family pay the price ultimately justified as standing up to prejudice? Or did it only prove that revenge destroys everyone in its path? True or false?